All right, back in the basement again today, just to do a quick video on how to put together your Hansu combo rack. I know a lot of people have grabbed this because it's a great price. This one in particular is very unique in the fact that it's white and custom branded. Putting this together is really easy, but as always, the instructions are sometimes difficult to follow. And after having put together many racks in my time, I figured I'd share with you how I do it for this particular rack.
So your combo is going to come in a nice box. It's about the size of a half a pallet, so not very big. So it's great to put somewhere if you're not planning on unboxing right away. But inside, everything is wrapped and foam covered, which is really nice. What I like to do is bring this all down to the basement or wherever you're going to install it. If you're installing in your garage, that's going to make things really easy. But let's go ahead and go through what you should have in your package. So walking through in the order I put them together, you have these two bottom base plates. You have a stabilizer to connect the two and a stabilizer plate. You have the bottom bases of the uprights as well as the lever arms that connect to them. You then have the uprights themselves, which are laser engraved and have rollers ingrained to them, the face savers and foot mounts for them, the bench items themselves, and then also not shown are just some odds and ends, but I am going to show you the fact that I had to use a separate socket and some Allen keys as well because those are not included. So I like to lay everything out in advance. I would suggest putting this where you want it to be or around that place because this is very heavy, but I have that two side pieces, the center brace, and then the foot plate stabilizer as well. I also like to take out all the hardware that I'll be using for the particular step that I'm on. So I got the bolts. The bolts for the most part are always going to have two washers on either side of any of the actual tubing. And then obviously the nut at the end as well. I just like to hand tighten these just because I'm not sure exactly how square it's going to be initially. So once I got all the nuts and bolts hand tightened for that particular step, I'll go in with that hex key as well as just my socket wrench and just tighten them down until everything feels pretty snug. So once that base is built, go in and put in the bench centering devices. You do not need a nut in this case because they are threaded. You do, however, in this case, need to use the spring washer. So I hand tighten those and then go back in with the hex key to ratchet them down. Next part is pretty simple. You get these brackets and thread in the two bolts that come with it. These are what's going to eventually be able to have the uprights go in or out. So just getting these in place before you put the uprights in is extremely helpful and necessary. So next you're going to get the bases for the uprights. Make sure that the Hansu logo is pointed back because that's where the lever arms are going to go. There is a bolt that you need to thread through the bottom. Again, this is going to allow the arm to pivot both in and out. Now, when installing this bolt, one of the things that I would suggest you do, or at least that I found helpful, is actually using an extender on your ratchet set just because it seems to be in a little bit of an odd spot. However, depending on what you choose to use for equipment, you might find that you don't need one. Now, once the upright bases are in, you can go ahead and throw the uprights in. Make sure that you're doing it so the cups are pointed towards the front of the rack. I also like to go ahead and throw the actual pins in there too, so they are set at the appropriate height. Once those are in, you can add the levers. I like to add the brackets and bolts to one side first and then put the lever in its appropriate spot because it'll sit nicely. Add the other bracket to the other side. Then again, washers and nuts to tighten them down with my hands. I'll then go back with tools to retighten them. Now, I would be careful. You don't want to over tighten these because the lever won't work. But also if it's too loose, it makes everything a lot louder. So just got to play with these a little bit to find the perfect size setting. From there, we can grab the bases for the face savers, slide them right in. There is a little hole where you can then use a screw to tighten them down so they don't move. And the face savers will slide right in with using another pin at your suggested height. So then onto the bench, which probably takes the most time because there's the most pieces. Again, base plate in first, then all of the bolts. Then I put the other base plate on, washers, nuts, hand tighten only here. I then like to add the pad and again, hand tighten those screws as well. I'm worried that the bench will not be level as is with stuff on its back. So hand tighten until it's completely set up. Then I go back and retighten it down with my actual ratchet. I am using yoga blocks here. That foot plate's extremely heavy. It does have the tendency to tip. So just as I do this, again, same procedure, just upright in this case. And then once those are all in, go in with my ratchet and tighten it down. Now, a unique thing with mine, it actually came with a nameplate for the bench. So it has my own custom branding in here. It's simple as just fitting them over the slots and then reattaching the screws that came with the nameplate. And overall, really simple process. Then just flip the bench up and roll it in. There's two screws that you can then attach. That's going to keep the bench super centered and mounted well, and you're done.
So there you go, the Hansu Ultimate Combo Rack. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know if you have any questions down below. Enjoy your rack, get lifting, and as always, stay big.